we're going to talk about something cosplay adjacent, and that is Renaissance fairs. And we're going to do it real fast because I am so sweaty right now. Hi, I'm Shell and I'm a cosplayer. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Or if you're a subscriber, welcome back. For me and many other nerds living in New England, early summer into autumn is Renaissance fair season. And I love Renaissance fairs. Personally, I think that Renaissance fairs and cosplay overlap each other a lot. They both involve dressing up in fun outfits, going to places with other nerds, buying nerdy things, and I want to see more cosplayers get into Renaissance fairs, because they're really fun. So this video will be 5 tips for a Ren Fair. Tip number 1 is see absolutely as many shows as you can. At the Ren Fair, there truly is a show for everyone. I've seen musicians and singing groups, I've seen comedy acts, I've seen circus performers, just to name a few. Fairs will also usually have a joust or armored combat or both. I definitely recommend seeing these. They are super cool, usually really well done, and they usually take place around noon or the middle of the day because they're kind of the biggest events at the fair. But if you're not into knights and horses, you're still in luck, because at every single Renaissance fair I have been to, even the really teeny tiny ones, there are multiple shows going on every single hour of the day. Sometimes it's actually a little rough because there might be 2 shows going on that you want to see at the exact same time, and you can't be in 2 places at once. But the good news is there's usually a second performance later, so you can see the first show in the morning and the second show in the afternoon. To see what kind of performances your local fair offers, I highly recommend checking out the website before you go to see if there's a schedule available, or if you can't find it there, there's almost always a paper copy at the fair. Second tip for the Ren Fair, play all the games. Seriously, as many as you can. Just like shows, there's a game for everyone at the Ren Fair. Basically every fair has axe throwing and archery. I've also seen darts, I've seen knife throwing, and throwing stars, to name just a few. If you think about it, almost every Ren Fair game involves throwing something. Like a cup down a slide, for example. I made my girlfriend do that. My favorite games at the Ren Fair are usually the ones aimed at children. I love doing things like launching monkeys into barrels, or throwing frogs onto lily pads, or just playing tic-tac-toe on the sidewalk. Big fancy fairs also sometimes have rides, like this swing thing my girlfriend went on. Look at them go! At a few of the fairs I've been to, you can actually pay to go into combat with someone. Sometimes it's a professional fighter, sometimes it's you and your friends running around in a field. And of course, these are foam weapons, they are perfectly safe, so you can have fun whacking each other without getting hurt. Next tip is expect to go shopping and get some food. Fair food, in my experience, is pretty much like carnival food. Think like popcorn and fried dough and turkey legs. There's also a whole slew of beverages you can get: lemonade, soda, water, and some really expensive alcohol. But while your local fair may not have a ton of variety when it comes to food, there will definitely be a ton of variety in the shopping. A huge part of Renaissance fairs are all of the different artists and booths you can buy from. I've seen everything from clothing, to armor, to books, to bags, to D&D dice, to candles, to honey, to tea. Name something and I've probably seen it sold at a Ren Fair. One word of caution about shopping. Many of the vendors at Renaissance fairs are local artisans who hand make everything. But there's also a pretty good representation of people who are really just resellers. I definitely recommend chatting with the vendors at their booth because 1, they're usually just super interesting people, and 2, the conversation will probably let you know if they made that item themselves or not. Because if they didn't make it themselves and they're reselling it, chances are you can find it a lot cheaper online. Next tip for the Ren Fair, and this is one I take very seriously, absolutely dress up. Now, you can wear whatever you want to the fair, as long as it's appropriate, no one's gonna stop you. But this is a cosplay channel, and I am a cosplayer, and my favorite part of Ren Fairs is dressing up. You truly can wear whatever you want. You can come in a t-shirt, you can come in cosplay of a specific character. I personally really enjoy putting together Renaissance fair, medieval inspired fantasy looks. I don't even necessarily think of a character, I just like pick a cool outfit that I want to wear. A big part of the fun for me going to Ren fairs is finding my outfit and putting it together. Usually I will go to a thrift store to get pieces. Those tend to be really awesome places for things like boots and bags and belts. All of the belts. All my belts are from Savers. You can get things like button-down shirts or linen pants or fancy dresses. Things like corsets you'll probably need to purchase online or from a vendor at the fair, but a thrift store can provide a lot of your outfit for very little money. A little extra tidbit of advice for you, and a fun fact, is that very serious Ren Fair folks, the people who are like hardcore and go every single year, they call their outfits garb. Not costumes, not cosplay, garb. Don't call it a costume, they'll like be offended, it's kind of whack. If you're like me and love giving people compliments and talking about their outfits, but are also super anxious and very afraid of offending someone by accident, instead of saying, I love your costume, or I love your outfit, or I love your garb, I try to pick something specific on them, and so I say, I love your hat, I love your skirt, I love your necklace. And then usually they'll talk about the rest of what they're wearing anyway. Last tip for the Renaissance Fair is not really one tip, but kind of a catch-all of things you should bring to have the best time. First is absolutely bring cash. Every Renaissance Fair has an ATM, and every Renaissance Fair ATM has a line 20 people deep trying to get more cash, because Renaissance Fairs run on cash. You'll want to use cash for food, you'll want to use cash for purchases, and you will especially want to use cash to tip the performers of all of those amazing shows you're going to. Performers will typically have a tip jar out during their act, and at the end we'll go around the crowd carrying it around so people can tip them there as well. If you watch their performance, definitely toss them a couple dollars at least. They're hardworking folk and they are usually really good at their jobs. Absolutely bring comfy shoes. This is non-negotiable. I don't care if you can walk a full day at a con in like super stiletto heels. Renaissance fairs are built different. Renaissance fairs are held outdoors on grass and dirt and mud and tree roots, and if you are not wearing comfortable footwear, you will regret it. And funny I mentioned mud because the next thing you should absolutely bring is some kind of rain gear. I like to fold up a poncho and put it in my bag. Sometimes I bring an umbrella. Oftentimes I bring both. I've gotten rained out of so many Renaissance fairs. They are outdoors and usually there's somewhere you can kind of take cover, but I've been in some real downpours. Please bring a poncho. Opposite of that, bring sunscreen, or at least put it on before you leave, because when it's not raining, it can be very, very sunny, and I have seen some intense Renaissance fair sunburns. If you want my expert opinion, you can battle both sun and rain at the same time with an umbrella. I have a cool vintage style umbrella that I bought online, and it's really great for when it's raining or when it's super sunny at the Ren Fair. I can also use it as a parasol. So that concludes what I bring to, wear to, do at, and enjoy about Renaissance fairs. In order to locate a fair near you and get your butt over to the fun, I recommend either therenlist.com or fairfinder.com, both of which will be linked in the description box down below. In case you also live in New England and are curious about Ren fairs or other con events, I figured now I'd give you a quick rundown of where I'm planning to be for the rest of the summer. The events that I'm looking at for the rest of the summer are the main Renaissance Fair, Connecticon, Fan Expo Boston, Pop Cult Anime Con, and the Connecticut Renaissance Fair, and King Richard's Fair. There's a lot of cons, there's a lot of fairs, I'm excited for all of them. If you enjoyed this video, it really helps the channel to leave a thumbs up down below, and let me know in the comments if you have any other questions about Renaissance fairs, because this was a quick overview and there's a lot more I can talk about. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye!